In the ratings and exclusions field, we've had a lot of success in our office. And I'd like to just share with you a brief outline of what our process is that we use for dealing with ratings and exclusions. The first thing we do when we get that memo from the underwriter is that we read and reread the decision over and over to make sure we totally understand what that underwriter is saying. Then I'll sit down and I'll discuss it with my insurance consultant in my office. And we discuss it. Then we go to the file. We review all the answers of the clients in the application. Then we contact the client and we ask them to clarify the situation and explain that there is a decision coming down that may not be totally standard rating, and we want to understand exactly what occurred in that particular health situation. And then the next step often will be to contact one of our networking contacts in the industry. Yes, we don't just network out in the volunteer world. We don't just network out for prospects. We network for prospects in the business world as well, because you need each other. We need each other's expertise. So if you know somebody who really specializes, even though I do a lot of work in the disability, I don't consider myself an expert. And so we contact an expert who specializes in that area, and we discuss the situation with them and say, have you ever run into this kind of a situation? So let me tell you about one of our clients. She was offered a disability application offer, standard medically, however, an exclusion for travel, because she said she was going to go to Chile next year for a week for her brother's wedding. Now, this lady's a young lady in her 20s. She doesn't travel internationally on business, and she's doesn't have any reason. I couldn't understand it. I had never seen such a rating ever. So after going through this whole process and discussing it with our insurance expert, he suggested that we talk to the underwriter and say, look, this lady's not traveling on business. You know, she's in her office most of the time, but she's only in her 20s, and what if she does start traveling internationally? We don't want her to have an exclusion for disability coverage if she becomes disabled while she's out of the country, out of North America. They were going to exclude her for any disability claims. So after much discussion, we finally went to the underwriter, and he suggested, tell the underwriter this story, and also tell her that you'd like to know whether they could either consider removing the rating, or would they consider that they would remove the rating after she does her trip to Chile, and that she's without any further underwriting, because between now and a year from now, who knows what happens with people's health. Long story short, the rating was removed.